मुझे रिटायरमेंट के बाद हर महीने लगभग 2.5 लाख की इनकम मिलेगी। क्या? कैसे? मुझे भी बता। सिंपल।
Hello, Moto.
Probably have to win all three to give themselves an outside chance, but they are not out of the equation. I mean, the ideal
set of results today for Gloucestershire would be they win, probably Kent win at the Oval, Hampshire beat Somerset, and Essex beat Sussex. That would be kind of, if you're putting a pound on a lottery ticket, that's your winning combination for today, isn't it?
Indeed, yeah, get those on your coupons for this afternoon. But the results matter not if Gloucestershire can't pick up at least a couple of wins in these last three matches. Surrey to come in next Friday afternoon, and then a trip down to Taunton in the final fixture. And we were speaking off there, weren't we, about not wanting Gloucestershire to go down to Taunton in that last game with something riding on it. There obviously will be something riding on it anyway, a potential home quarter final on the line, but you don't want to go there knowing you have to win to sneak through, regardless of their excellent record in Somerset in T20 cricket in the last few years.
And actually, you say about Phillips, he is the highest scorer in this group in the tournament. 421 runs at an average of 70. That is exactly what when your overseas player comes in and basically he gets significant contributions in 7 out of the 9 innings he plays. You say, right, I don't know what we paid him, but that investment is worth the money.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, Gloucestershire didn't really get that with Craig Brathwaite earlier in the season. Played well at times in the Championship, but didn't really define any matches. But that's just what Glenn Phillips has done. He's provided a number of really match-defining contributions in the tournament so far. Won't be around if Gloucestershire do get to the knockout stages because of his other commitments, either in the Caribbean or with New Zealand. So make the most of him while you can in these last 3 games, and they'll be hoping that he can put on another show here today. No runs for him in the Championship match in the week. But he'll be hoping back out in his favoured T20 environment, and with these inviting square short boundaries in particular, to cause some real damage here this afternoon.
Yeah, Middlesex in their usual pink and navy blue kit.
Cheltenham College colours, they timed that well, didn't they?
Yeah. I was asked on the way, I was out of the ground yesterday as Benny Howell and Miles Hammond walk out as Gloucestershire's opening pair, to try and explain why Middlesex have had such a poor season when, in theory, they ought to have the resources and the depth of squad to be competitive everywhere, and yet they haven't been competitive in the 4-day cricket, and they're really out of contention in the T20 as well.
Yeah, very much so. Their T20 has never been the sharpest. They did win the competition back in 2008, but that was a real outlier in what's been, in terms of overall history of T20, not a great time for Middlesex, but particularly their 4-day cricket the last few years, really, basically since they won the Championship, has been very, very disappointing. But, as ever, new day, new challenge, new opportunity, and we shall see what they can provide here this afternoon. Gloucestershire went down to Hampshire last Friday against another side that was struggling and got tipped up. I want to avoid another upset here this afternoon. So Gloucestershire sent in. It's not what they like to do. They prefer to chase. They've been forced to bat first a number of times in the competition with some success, and they'll try to do so once again here today. So Miles Hammond and Benny Howell are out there, and it's the mystery spin really of Majid first up, and Hammond straight away going on the reverse and playing a missing. A deep square, and in front of us Max Holden, who's one of the boundary riders, and long on is also posted, and Hammond gets this reverse sweep up and over backward square and all the way for 6. It's a grand for maximums, isn't it, here at Cheltenham College? Particularly very short square of the wicket, and the ball in particular sails down the slope towards the Sanford Road And that's carried the deep backward square boundary by a distance.
Yeah,
Fine start.
The scoreboard is an electronic one here at Cheltenham, but that could be in some danger today, because that reverse switch hit did not drop very short, very much over the boundary, and I would say that board is probably, if it's more than 20 metres back, I'd be surprised.
So Hammond finding his range early. Forces the error with the ball down the leg side. It'll be penalised. Another lovely day. It was probably one of the better days of the summer yesterday, wasn't it, for that conclusion of the championship match? But equally beautiful here today. Sunny skies at Cheltenham. What could be better, but Hammond is gone now. Majid holding one back and gets through. Hammond trying to cut. Middlesex have an early wicket and Hammond has to go. He's looking to stay at leg side and create that angle for himself, but it's skidded into his off stump. And Hammond falls early in the piece, and silence around Cheltenham College. 6 for 1, 7 for 1.
Well, Hammond in good form in the red ball game at the moment, and he's scored runs relatively consistently in the T20, but being a Cheltonian, he wanted to have continued that form today, but one big shot and on his way. So Ian Cobain, having got injured in that home game against Kent with that tangle with Case Ahmed, this is the first game he's played since, and we had a chat with him yesterday. He said he'd been doing some straight line running and having a regular net, and then yesterday it was a question of just doing some shuttle runs as if you were running, twos or threes and changes of direction, and
Provided everything was all right today, he would play.
Good to see him back. They'll be hoping to make up the lost time here in Cobain after a really innocuous injury he picked up. Gloucestershire under early pressure here. Deep square and long on also out here for...
Majid really is somebody who's played all round the world, hasn't he?
Yeah.
IPL, Big Bash.
You've got to wear these kind of boots. Cobain away with a single down the slope. So those marquees, not quite as numerous as they sometimes are. They usually are here at the festival.
And obviously a very different design of marquees as well. Normally it's the traditional cream or white, but we've got all sorts of colours here.
I think you call those stretch tents.
Yeah.
Providing a bit more open air in these times we're living.
Yeah, it literally couldn't be hotter. What is it, about 30 degrees at the moment? There's absolutely no wind in the air at all. It's similar at Lord's, not too far from here as well. It's roasting hot down there for the test match. If you are here, drink lots of water. You're going to need it today. I'd rather be playing a T20 than a test match in these conditions. And, Middlesex, they can actually still make the quarterfinals. It would take something close to a miracle, but they've got to win their final 4 games, give themselves the best possible opportunity, and then hope a few other results go their way. But you never know, right? You never know. In T20, you get on a roll, you win a game. Middlesex have lost quite a few close games this season. If they'd won those games, they'd be in a much better shape. Just can't get over the line in the key moments. But you win a game like today, you never know what might happen. Team last year in a lot of ways. They've struggled a bit this year, just above Middlesex in the tables. A big opportunity. New captain as well, relatively new coach, new captain in all formats, Lewis Deploy. So a good opportunity to at least get some momentum that you can take into next season.
You stole my line. The heat's on the field as well for Middlesex. It really is. 4 from 4 is what they'll need to go. So here is that team for Middlesex. There's one change from the defeat here 2 days ago. That's Sebastian Morgan coming in down the bottom there. With Middlesex making a change really in terms of the bowling. It's Max Holden who drops out, so they do go with that top 5 of batters. Cracknell at 6, then Holman and Gohar leading the bowlers. Morgan, who is a bowling all-rounder. That Gloucestershire side, as you mentioned, Floyd, they beat Middlesex, and that was a classic example of what you were talking about in terms of Middlesex just getting so close but not quite getting over the line. It was the same here on Wednesday as it was at Bristol on Sunday. Out in the middle, the bowling's going to open up from the Lake end. Looks like it's going to be David Payne. It is. David Payne with the ball in hand at the far end from us. Glorious sunny day here. That's certainly something for both the spectators and the players to think about. Heard Phil Tufnell actually on commentary today saying he'd never known a hotter day at Lords.
Wow, and he's played a few days there as well, hasn't he? So he would know.
Yeah, he'd been out in the middle, I think, before the start of play. Said he'd never known anything like it. So that's what they're all up against today. Here's Payne with the first ball of the match, though. It's Stephen Eskenazi on strike. Change up at the toss as well. At the top, we've got Geddes in there alongside Eskenazi. I think that's probably a pretty cute move, Floydie, because Kane Williamson is Kane Williamson. He needs no introduction, no excuse, nothing made for him. But Eskenazi and Williamson are a little bit similar in a way, that they're stroke players at the top, whereas Geddes really gets after that ball early, and I wonder, is that the thinking for Middlesex in this one?
Yeah, it's an interesting move. Why not try something different? You know, it's been inconsistent this year, so give something else a go. I presume Kane Williamson will bat at number 3. He's batted at number 3 in all formats. Happy to play there, of course. Yeah, not a bad shot. And Geddes has been ultra aggressive this year as well, so I'm keen to see what he does in the first 6.
That's exactly it. He's made such an impact for me since he's come in from Surrey. He really has. You know, he's taken to it, which isn't easy either for a batter at Lords to come in and make an impact from the off, and he's really done that. Now, obviously, play half the games or more like this one away from Lords, but wherever he's gone, whatever format he's played for Middlesex so far, he's looked extremely impressive. And there's that little advance. He really does. You know, it's that classic, well, modern-day Surrey player coming through the ranks. Guildford. Over the years, Whitgift's school was similar as well, but certainly the oval, that ball comes on nicely, doesn't it? And the batters really do like to throw their hands at the ball, and that's something Geddes certainly does. I think Williamson coming in at 3 as well, he can then adapt his game rather than pushing Geddes up to 3 in the absence of Holden.
It's a real challenge though. David Payne's having a good season. Economy rate is just 6 this year. Vastly experienced, travelled around the world. Played in the Big Bash and other places as well. Just one of those bowlers who, he's got a lovely action, hasn't he? He just sort of trots up, very rhythmical action, very good Yorker, changes of pace. So I think he probably is a bit more slippery than he looks as well. He's one of these like Jofra Archer with that effortless release. The ball kind of just hits the bat a bit harder than you're expecting.
Oh, that is a beaut. Look at that. Well, I was worried I talked out Geddes a few moments ago. I think you just talked up Payne there. That's exactly what you were talking about.
Well, have a look at this. This swings in, shapes the swing in, and then seams away. We'll try and
that was a magic ball. You couldn't see it at all.
Yeah, so quick you couldn't see it. But yeah, it did. It shaped to swing in, didn't it? Because he's got that in his locker, and then it just seamed away. That's pretty much unplayable, a delivery like that.
Oh, checked that, but only just, didn't he? And so I talk about with Geddes, he really does go hard at the ball. And I don't say that in a critical way, because that is his game and that's the way he goes about it. And it's very much the modern batter's way, isn't it? It's the end of the first over here at Merchant Taylor's School. Middlesex won without loss. But yeah, Sunday, you mentioned Payne there. For me, he was almost his final over, be it the 18th or 19th. It just ripped the heart out of Middlesex when they were in a great position to win that game, as they were in a very good position here against Hampshire on Wednesday as well. And the frustration for Middlesex, the one thing I would say is it turns from a frustration of just not being competitive to a frustration of they are now competitive but they're still not getting the wins. But I think you'd certainly prefer being in the latter camp there. Here's Shaw from the Benham end with the second over.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? You've got to be in it to win it. I think Middlesex will be encouraged this year that they've had opportunities to be in a better position in the table than they are. And I think those moments, a lot of that is experience, isn't it? Just getting down to those crunch moments right at the end of a match. It's when your experienced players need to come to the fore. It's a very inexperienced Middlesex side. They're giving youth a chance, which is great. But just in those moments, sometimes it's a little bit tougher when you've got a young side.
This pitch here at Merchant Taylor School as well, there's a good example of it. It seemed a lot on Wednesday. Same surface. We saw it actually in all 3 games here so far. There was the Middlesex women's game here first up in a double header. In the T20, and the seam movement was prodigious in that one. I was a little surprised that Middlesex elected to bat in that game, having seen just how much seam movement there was. Wristily worked away.
Eskenazi shot if ever you've seen one. Tried to create room, didn't he, to hit through the offside as he likes to do. So Shaw thought he'd follow him, but he just got his line wrong, followed him too much down the leg side, and all Eskenazi had to do there was... It can be a massively high scoring ground, as you say. Once you're out past that infield, it's 4. And clearing the boundary here, not the most difficult as well. An out ground, it's not quite as small as Radlett, I don't think. It's fine at the fielder this time. Can't flick it back in though. 1 bounce and 4. So strong square of the wicket, Steve Eskenazi, both sides, offhand leg. And what he does, he pulls off the front foot as well, doesn't he? You see there? He's got a big forward press there, but he's still able to play the pull shot. Not very conventional, but that's what makes him tough to bowl at in T20. He's having another really good season. Just needs a bit more backup, really.
In the middle of the innings.
Now, we tried that a few times the other day. It didn't work. This time it works to perfection. 6 into the corporate 10. Keep your eyes on the ball over there as well. That's a beautiful shot. Great way to finish the over.
I've been put down as well in the corporate 10, just in front. Let's see if we can catch that on this replay. Oh, she's just got out of the way. That's the safe way to do it, isn't it? Lady over there thought, wow, you know, I could try and catch it, but I might break a fingernail or something. Perfectly executed scoop shot by Eskenazi. Middlesex needed that second over, just 1 off the first, 16 off the second. They're up and running.
Now, boy, he's got hold of it. Over the top of mid-on for 4. I have to admit, off the edge, off the bat, I thought, yeah, it's an edge. It's an edge. I have to say, the sound of it said edge straight away. I thought he's edged that. Completely lost it at that point. But over short third, I was about to correct myself and say I thought that sounded like an edge, but that was the middle of the bat. Most extraordinary sound, but edge it was.
He held the pose for a bit, which suggested he might have connected better, but he's off the mark anyway, Geddes. Maybe a bit more seam movement away from the right-hander for Payne. Talked about that seam movement here, Handy. There is grass on the wicket. Player. Not quite there though. He maybe a bit early on that shot. Not sure whether Payne took a bit of pace off there, perhaps. Might be the kind of pitch where pace off cutters and the like would be a good idea. Yeah, if he just rolled his fingers across that slightly.
Yeah, you mentioned that sea movement. There's not quite as much grass on this one as there was on Wednesday, and the sea movement probably for a T20 was too much. Now this ground is renowned as being a seaman's pitch. Toby Rowland-Jones over the years, Stephen Finn, absolutely loving playing here and bowling here. Probably for a T20, it was really sticky at the start for Middlesex in particular. It's a good tumbling stop, Furness. Geddes has to make sure he gets back. But yeah, I mean, well, one, the heat has probably burnt off a bit of that grass, but it looks as though they've taken it a little bit tighter. But still, we'll see a little bit of movement off the surface here. How it comes onto the bat as well will be crucial. Well, that answers that.
That might have just carried for 6. It was very close. But again, that's what Geddes does. You know, no real foot movement at all. Just relies on his hands. And this time, he drags over to the leg side. Kind of similar, really, similar base to how he played the drive, similar feet movement, just completely different shot. Had a really nice sound off the bat. First 6 of the innings. So 32 off the last 2 overs. Middlesex just got their eye in on that first David Payne over.
I think we're going to see a change in bowler after those 2 expensive overs. It's going to be spin for the first time. Van Buren, left arm spinner.
Yeah, that's what I was going to come to on the pitch and the seam movement that's been. It'll be really interesting to see how spin goes today. There was one ball from Dawson that he gave so much flight, really took the pace off it, and it ripped and turned past the bat of Eskenazi.
Long off and a deep mid-wicket. There's 2 fielders out. Graham Van Buren. It's going to be the option for Geddes here.
Oh, now the throw. It had been tight. I think he was home. Now, where did it hit him as well? Well, he ducked his head there. It's quite a solid sound on that connection as well. Whether it was the helmet, if it was, then it'll have to be a concussion check. But was it the bat? I think it was going to be the helmet. Is it just the back of it? Or maybe around the back then. Maybe it was a meaty sound then rather than a hard one. Neither particularly nice.
Good bowling by Van Buren. He knows that both batters trying to give themselves room and hit through cover. There's no protection on the boundary, so he just follows them, doesn't give them the width.
There's a little bit of grip on that one, wasn't there? But Eskenazi having the time to rock back. He'll have that ball in mind still, I'm sure. From Dawson the other day, just to wait and see if Van Buren gets one to do something similar.
Really clever bowling, isn't it? Nothing too fancy, just getting his lines right. As soon as he sees the batters backing away, he knows that if he bowls the ball on the stumps, they're just going to whack him through the offside. So he follows them, keeps his eye on the batters all the way through.
Oh, now it's up in the air, mid-on underneath it. Comfortable catch, easily taken. Taylor holds on, Van Buren has the wicket. Eskenazi has to go. 12 balls. It's a fine run with the bat. It's been a good nick the last couple of games, not to be today.
Just trying to hit this maybe a bit too much towards the leg side. It's a bit of a leading edge, isn't it? You see here, he's trying to go maybe sort of mid-wicket way. He played with a straight bat, with mid-on up. It was a sort of very wide long on behind him. Playing with a straighter bat, I think might have had a better result. Easy catch in the end for Jack Taylor. And that's a big blow for Middlesex. Eskenazi at the moment, barring that man, of course, Kane Williamson. Far and away, Middlesex is the most in-form batter in T20, has been for some time. Williamson to the crease. A lot of people here to see one of the great batters of the modern world game. And he's been very consistent, hasn't he? Super consistent. He's been getting 20s, 30s, 40s. Only 150 though so far. That 50 was against Essex at Lords, the previous game I commentated on actually. So you just feel like there's a biggie around the corner. Wonder if it's going to be today here at the Outground.
And Merchant Taylors. Now, raw pace. Ajit Singh Dell. This guy's quick.
Yeah, now's the time for Williamson, isn't it? As you say, 4 from 4 from Middlesex, that's what's required.
They are to reach the knockout stages of this year's competition. They've got the players to do it, particularly with the bat. I think with the ball they're not far off at all, but they feel for the last couple of years they've been a good batting unit, which historically
I don't think they have been in T20 other than when they won it. In 2008 they did make the quarter-finals with Morgan and De Villiers one year. But it's a batting unit. This one looks very, very strong to me, pretty complete. Holds are missing out on this one, just means they get the option to go with the extra bowler. Higgins and Holman to some extent playing the all-rounder role. Safa Gohara as well. He's a bowling all-rounder, but he certainly knows one end of the bat from the other. I think they'll be disappointed if they can't keep it alive a little bit longer, just that hope of getting out of the group.
That'll be leg bars, I think. Williamson not off the mark just yet. Very slingy, isn't he, Ajit Singhdale, which just makes it that little bit harder to pick up for a batter. Just pick it up that split second later, a bit like a sort of Shoaib Akhtar sort of action. Not quite as quick.
That's a pretty good comparison, I like that.
It's a little bit different, isn't it? I mean, he's not... Akhtar was real sort of a whirlwind of arms, wasn't it? Left and right arm. Ajit Singhdale's left arm isn't sort of quite as prominent, sort of more tucked in. Not that I'm a bowling expert, but just to the naked eye, that's what it looks like. He is on England's radar, though. England Lions, etc. Because of that raw pace.
Must be a single tucked again. Pace can go as well, that's the other thing, isn't it?
Interesting to see, I'd imagine Geddes here will look to try and get after him this ball. They won't like 2 leg byes and 2 singles off the over. 18 from 15 from Geddes, and he's all pretty sweetly so far, but for that one edge. There he goes. That is Ben Geddes all over. If you capture one shot to sum him up, he likes the hook, he likes the pull, but what a pickup that was.
Second time he's played that shot, really. This one was a lot squarer than the first time, and a better connection too. Really good off. That's right in his arc, isn't it? He's probably the best player of the pull shot in the Middlesex squad, you'd say. Lashes onto the length really quickly. Now he's enjoying opening at the moment. It's a different challenge for him. The field's up though, which is great. If you're used to coming in and all the fielders are out, it's a real bonus for you to make hay while you can in that first 6. Josh Shaw back on. First over went for 16.
Backed up. Overthrows on that one. Gets a bold move to go back to short here. 17 of his first over. Final over of the power play. Middlesex will be absolutely desperate to cash in this over now. And Geddes has the strike, which is, again, you know, Williamson.
Who's deploy? The new captain, all format captain. Stephen Eskenazi has stepped down for personal reasons. The white ball teams and Toby Rowland-Jones, the aforementioned Toby, has also stepped aside of the 4-day captaincy, so he's got a lot on his plate now, Lewis Deploy, and he can do some runs actually as well in the T20 format. He's not had a great season at all. Well, that's an overstatement really. I think he's averaging about 9 at the moment, and he's a much better player than that. It's just going to be the innings that gets him going.
Single ends the power play, 51 for 2. Yeah, just going back to 2 points there. First, sticking with these 2. One thing I don't particularly remember is Deploy having any period of time to bat with Kane Williamson. And, you know, Deploy's a fantastic player. His averages, his statistics, they're incredible. So in some ways it's a silly thing to say, but the entire Middlesex dressing room are very excited about Williamson's arrival, and a big part of that is having time in the middle. I remember when Brendan McCullum came in for a season with Middlesex. His debut was here actually, in a game against Gloucestershire, funnily enough. even somebody like Paul Sterling, who was vastly experienced himself at that stage, who was just talking about having time in the middle with McCullum. For somebody like Lewis Deploy, I'm sure he'd be delighted to have an opportunity out there with Williamson in this match. And it is an opportunity now, because just out of the power play, they'll both have a little opportunity here to get themselves in. Marchant to Langer, who is a real pace merchant.
Definitely a pace merchant, yeah, I like it. Or I think Marchand is how he likes to pronounce it. Marchand de Langer, giant of a man, real sort of catapult action as well. But